Hi everybody, this is Sheila Cantonwine and I want to quickly show you everything that you're going to get in this Halloween bingo. So first of all, you're going to have 36 unique bingo cards. You're going to have 36 in color and 36 in black and white. You can either use the calling cards with or without the riddles, and I just added some digital spinners to kind of make it more interactive. So what we're going to do is walk through this product a little bit so I can give you a closer look at what's included. It's 87 pages long for the PDF. So as we go to page 4, you've got some teacher instructions for the printable. So I'm going to talk first about what you would do if you want to use this as a printable in your classroom. So you would either print the color or the black and white game boards. If you use the black and white game boards, you can use those as coloring pages. So make sure your students can use crayons, markers, colored pencils, whatever you have to add that additional activity. You can also print them in color. And then either way, I would maybe suggest that you laminate them because this will make it last for multiple years. For the bingo markers, you can use whatever you want. There's actual bingo markers. You can use candies, Hershey Kisses, mini erasers, whatever you have on hand or whatever you can find at the dollar store. And then there are some prizes that I suggest as well for you to give to your students. This is the second page of teacher instructions, so it kind of gives you all the instructions on how you prep it and how you play the game. And then you're going to have the teacher instructions for the digital, and it goes through all of that. And I'll come back to the digital in a minute. And then here's some more information about the digital with the spinners. So for the printable, the first thing you need to decide is whether you want to use the riddles or not. So the first set of calling cards has the riddles included in them. And so this is going to depend on your students. It's a little bit more challenging, so I might suggest upper elementary students, middle school, high school students could definitely do these riddles. Lower grade levels, you might want to just stick with the images and the words. So what you would do is you would print these up and then you would go ahead and cut them and then put them face down on your desk and then turn them over one at a time, and this becomes your printable calling cards. Now, there are more of the calling cards than there are spaces on the bingo game. So there are 24 spaces on the bingo game, and there are 28 calling cards. So your students are not going to have everything that you call. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're playing the game. If you give a different item and your student says, I don't have that, it's just that they don't have that particular one on their bingo board. And just say, okay, well, let's wait for the next one and see if you have that one. So just kind of keep that in mind. So what you're going to have next are the 36 colored bingo games. These are great to print. And so you can go ahead and print those up. And then after you have the 36 printable in color, you're going to go ahead and have them in black and white. So that is the printable version. So you would print the bingo cards, either color or black and white. And then you would print the calling cards, either just the ones with the text and the image, or you could also print the calling cards that had all the different riddles in them. So that is the printable version. Now for the digital version, there are a couple options. So for the game boards, you can choose to use the easel activities. And so this is what it would look like in the easel activities. And this is just a clickable link once you actually purchase the product. So this is the same thing as what you saw in the printable PDF, but there's a little direction here. Use the highlight tool or circle tool to mark the spaces as your teacher calls them. You'll see there are 36. So you would just go ahead and assign a different number to each student. So you would say, student 1 would get card 1 and student 2 would get card 2 and things like that. So you would assign the cards like that so each student had their unique game board. And then what they would do is they would use these shapes. So I typically use this circle shape because it kind of reminds me of an actual bingo marker. They can click and drag a shape like that, and then they can click on the fill button and they can make it fill to whatever color they want. This is kind of like a fun Halloween color. And then once they have their bingo marker, they can just use Control C to copy, and then Control V as in Victor to paste. And now they've got an additional bingo marker. And that's what they would use to go ahead and play the game. And they could make their own shapes, they could make their own colors, and basically do this all digitally online. So that's a good way to do it digitally. Another way is that in the downloads that you got this PowerPoint, and it's basically the Halloween colored bingo game boards that you could upload to Google Sheets. So I went ahead and uploaded it to my Google Sheets, and it's very similar to what you saw from before. All you're going to do is assign different ones for each student. So you'd say, this is student 1, student 2, student 3, and then they would go ahead and use this digital game board. And then they could use shapes and things like that to make it digital as well. So 2 different options for the digital game board, either the easel activities or upload the PowerPoint with the 36 slides to your Google account, Google Classroom, and then you could go ahead and share that with your students. Now, the really fun part is the new spinners. So let me show you how that works. And you could use this either with the printable or the digital. So there are 4 different spinners that you can use. I'm going to go ahead and just click on this one, and these are clickable links. These are also clickable links here as well. So I'm going to click on the spinner with words and images, and it says click to spin or press Control Enter. So I'm going to go ahead and click, and you'll see that the spinner has all 28 options on it. So the first thing that comes up is Spells Book. So you're going to get this little notification that says mark this on your bingo card, Spells Book. And then you'll notice there's some applause there, so you can go ahead and turn the sound off if you don't want that. Here's the thing. You need to make sure you click remove, because when you click remove, it takes that out of the wheel so that you're not calling the same images over and over again. So we're going to go ahead and say remove, and then it says removed Spells Book. I'm going to go ahead and spin it again, and then this time it'll be something different. Same thing, we'll get a pop-up that tells the students what they need to mark, and then they would go ahead and mark that on their bingo card. And then again, I would remove that to make sure that we're not repeating these spaces. And then, as I mentioned here, you could turn the sound off if you don't want to have the sound running for it. So this is one that has the words and the images. You can also use the one with just the words. So this is an option as well. So basically it just has the words themselves. So spider web, and then it's going to pop up and tell them that it's spider web. Mark this on your bingo card, and then you would say remove. The next spinner has the riddles. So you would click to spin, and then obviously you can't fit all the riddles in each space. So when it stops, it will pop up with the full riddle. So mark the answer to this riddle on your bingo card. Yellow, orange, and white in a line on Halloween, a sugary sign. So that would be the candy corn. Same thing, hit remove, and then you would just continue playing the game like that. And then the last one is if you just have images. This would be great for younger students. It would be great for ESL. Lots of different options for the there we go, for just the images itself without any words. So it works exactly the same way. So looks like we're going to hit the mummy here. Oh, okay, so mark this on your bingo card. There's the mummy, and then you would say remove. So I included all 4 based on, what your students would prefer. But honestly, you could play all different ways. You could start out with just the image, and then you could add the words and then the image and the words and the riddles or whatever you want. And then if you wanted to reset the game, you'll just come back here and start from scratch. And then it will start a new game just by clicking this link here. So lots of really fun options for the digital spinners. So lots of ways that you can play this. If it were me in the classroom, I would probably use a combination of both. I would probably, if I had the time, I would print out the color, if I had access to a color printer, or the black and white bingo cards, I would laminate them. If the students, if we were going to be using it over and over again. But then I probably would use the digital spinners. You could project those on your smart board, and it's a very easy way to just be, picking the different items on the bingo board without having to put a lot of effort into it. So lots of different great options with this. And like I said, you can, do riddles, no riddles, black and white, color. You can use the spinners. You could use the other calling cards that are printable. So many options. So hopefully this is helpful, and hopefully you have a better idea of what's included in the product. And just let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and I am always happy to help.